Hi, I'm Sydney, and I am a servant of the Almighty God. Continuing this series on recognizing God's omnipotence, I want to focus today on a term that we use. I'm sure you've heard it. It's basically being more in tune with nature. And now, as I have said many times, and this is the way I think of, nature is the manifestation of God's omnipotence. It is something that I'm sure you hear constantly. Nature gave us this, Mother Nature did this. And if you notice, it's a term that science has now adopted, because science has moved away from the concept of random, the random evolution and everything is just random, because we see that those intertwinings. And so regardless of whether you believe in God or not, there are a couple examples in nature that, for me, and if you really think about it, shows these are irrefutable. This is irrefutable proof of the omnipotence of the Creator. I'll give you three of them. One, hibernation. Think about it. Again, these things just seem natural to us, right? Because it's out there. But think about the fact that there are animals, that their physiology and the processes within their bodies that enable them to go without food or water for up to 5 months. 5 months! Just think about that. How long can we go without food and without water? Right? Very short time, maybe a couple weeks. Without water, that's it. But somehow these animals, because they didn't do it themselves, they did not do that themselves. So think about the engineering. We couldn't do it. We simply could not engineer or train an animal to stay without food for up to 5 months. So that's one example that shows the intelligence, the benevolence, the supreme intelligence required. That, to me, is an example of God's omnipotence. Another one is echolocation. The fact that dolphins and bats, they have their physiology, their bodies have been changed to be able to use echolocation, send sound out and listen, and they receive it and they can tell them a lot about direction and the properties of what they're running into or what they're facing and all these things, and not at some low speed, faster than even our computers. And the third is navigation. Navigation, birds, butterflies, turtles. I mean, there's so many creatures that we think of as lower, which could not give that to themselves, right? This is not a random thing, because it's not like they just randomly go in different directions. They have set patterns, like the monarch butterflies that go from Canada to Mexico and back. That's the sort of thing. Or salmon that find the rivers that they were born in. And we don't understand that, but that's the sort of engineering that shows the omnipotence of our Creator. And so when we talk of nature endowing these creatures with these special abilities, we are talking about our Creator, the Almighty God, His omnipotence. And so when we truly go through this humanity's inflection point, when religion starts recognizing nature is the manifestation of God's omnipotence, we will start recognizing also the everlasting and the living God. And whether it's monotheism, or we have angels and all these other deities and all this stuff, we don't know. But we know that the Almighty is in charge, because we see how all of these things work together. And so being in tune with nature will in fact bring us to that point where the spiritual, the Almighty, it's not about the hate and all the nervousness and all these frustrations and all this stuff. Being in tune, it's not just about the physical. Being in tune with nature will truly be about our minds, our bodies, our spirits, being in tune with our Creator and our ecosystem. So we, recognizing His omnipotence, we can take a walk and we can feel His greatness, feel the power of the living God, our Creator who loves us, who gave us this wonderful garden and gives us all these talents and exposes these things around us so we can recognize His greatness. And yet, currently we are not there yet. But those of us who strive to be in tune with nature must also recognize there is that great supreme being who created us, who created hibernation, who gave the ability to hibernate to creatures, echolocation, and also that navigational skills, the one that endowed them, because we could not train any animal. And I've talked about this. It's somewhere embedded. He embedded it within them because they don't have to think about it. They just know it, which is something that we don't have. We don't have that ability to just know things. Well, there's some things that He's given us, right? Like intuition. But we have gotten away from that spiritual point to this completely materialistic, and we've turned away from the living God because we when we say nature now, we don't recognize that. And like I said, science is beginning to. They're not consciously saying, well, there's an intelligent supreme being, but those of us who have awakened spirituality, whose spiritual components have grown and developed, those of us who have peace and seek to be more in tune with nature must recognize. And this will be the natural state once we go through the humanity's inflection point, as I have written. Once the inspirations that came to me, that directed or came to me and enabled me to write humanity's inflection point, it's about us getting to that state where we recognize that we can truly be in tune with nature physically and also spiritually. We all can become more enlightened and be more about love, peace, conservation, or Haley, as I talk about, with honesty, altruism, love, and inclusion being a part of us. Then we truly can be in tune with nature. I want to thank you for taking the time to review this video, and I'd like you to remember that this is not a coincidence. It's a pattern of that you have decisions that you have made that have led you down this path of thinking, of the leading to the enlightenment for each and every one of us. I want to thank you again, and until the next time, think about this, and may God bless us all. Thank you.